Caleb Smith here from Cardistry Talk, and I'm super happy to be on the Card Perfect Magician channel again. Earlier I got the chance to teach you guys my move Tide, which is a really fun fan that you can do. If you guys haven't learned that, definitely check it out after this tutorial. It's a really fun move. But today I get the honor to show you my method for how to kick a playing card to where you get a fair amount of distance and you have some accuracy with it. You guys may have seen this move in the Chili Boys video I did with Sam Gordon, a short little video we did together. You also may have seen it in the Squeezers V3 trailer for organic playing cards, also with Sam Gordon. Just whenever I see Sam Gordon, for some reason I want to launch projectiles off of my foot. But that one was really special in the Squeezers V3 trailer because he actually caught it in a spring, and that was really cool. I wish we would have got it a little bit better on camera. But I'm going to teach you that method that was in those videos. So before we jump into it, I want to kind of explain how I even made this, because I feel like this technique could help you if you're trying to make a move. So basically what I did was I knew I wanted to find a way to kick a playing cards, so I set up a camera and just had it record me, and I just tried to kick a playing card. I tried several different ways, spinning, not spinning, stationary with the cards, until I found something that looked like it worked. So if I found something that looked like it worked, I would stop the camera, look back at it, and look at why it worked. And then from there, I was able to place together this method that I have here. So if you guys ever are trying to create something, maybe film yourself, and when you do something right or towards the direction that you want it to head, stop the video and then look at that last little bit on what worked. I want to give you guys some tips on what type of cards to use when learning this move. The brand and the finish of the cards doesn't really matter. I would just strongly recommend using ad cards or a deck of cards that you don't really care if it gets messed up. I wouldn't recommend poop decks because it's better to have the cards really firm and new out the box, and that's why I strongly recommend ad cards. That's what I use to do my kicking, just because one, it gives the ad cards a purpose, because usually I would just toss them, and then two, it's a deck of cards or a card that I don't really care about. So don't use an expensive deck for these, and also don't use a poop deck. Use one that you don't mind trashing. Maybe it's a cheap deck, find out what works for you, but just make sure it's not a new expensive deck, please. For my method, you're gonna have a singular card that'll be spinning towards the ground. So there's a multitude of ways to get a singular card spinning. You're gonna wanna make sure it's relatively flat when it's going down and there's not a lot of wobble. But figure out a method that works for you. You could do hot shot, you could do a multitude of things. I'm gonna show you guys the kind of base move, the base way that I do it. For my easiest method, I usually have a card in my right hand. If you're left-handed, you can put it in your left hand, but I'm gonna hold it like I would be doing a pirouette, if you know pirouette, but my middle finger is gonna be at the bottom in the center, and my thumb is gonna be on top of the card in the center. I'm then gonna have this pointer finger free. With pirouette, you usually spin from the bottom. For this, I like to grab a corner and just kind of pull it to get it a rotation. So I pull it and then I just kind of let it fall. So I pull it and then lift up and let it fall. You're gonna wanna work on getting your card to where it's really flat as it's falling, and there's not a lot of, it's not coming down diagonally, it's not wobbling. So you'll have to play around with it, find a way that works for you. This is kind of the most basic way that I think I can show you if you don't know how to make a single card fall down relatively flat. Now also for my method, you're actually not really like hitting the card straight on. As it's spinning, coming down, you're kind of hitting it at a corner. So as it's spinning, coming down, you're hitting it from a corner, and that's gonna create a movement going outwards, and then it's going to continue to spin. Now you can actually practice the feeling of hitting the card on the corner while it's spinning and having it shoot off with your hand, and I would recommend you try to do that first, just so you have a good idea of what it kind of looks like and feels like with different objects. So using your hand, you can use the back of your hand or the front of your hand to kind of slap it and hit it off in the same kind of method. Will kind of help you transition it to your feet if you can. So when I'm kicking it, I usually don't actually use the bulk of my foot to hit it. Most of the time I'm using the area kind of between my shin and my foot, that kind of weird middle ground between the two. This is what I've found to work a little bit better than hitting it with different parts of your feet. You're kind of hitting it in between that little bit of flesh in between your foot and your shin. So ideally you will also be kind of locking your foot down, so your foot will be pointed down. This is kind of a common technique for soccer when striking a soccer ball. We're just hitting it with a different part, which is the flesh, like I said, between your foot and your shin, but you're gonna ideally be locking that foot straight down and coming through. Now obviously I'm going to recommend that whatever dominant foot you have is the one you try to use for this move. I have a couple different angles for you guys for some of the kicks that I've done here today. Now I'm not going to lie to you guys, this isn't the most accurate move. Usually I can get about 2 out of 3 hits pretty good, but once you do hit it good, you can get a really good one every once in a while. So like this one, if I wasn't inside, this could have easily gone 40 to 50 feet. I was originally going to try to put this into the Guinness World Book of Records, but they said that there isn't enough competition or interest for this type of thing. So that's why I'm partially making this tutorial now, is so we can hopefully have other people experimenting with this and seeing how far they can get it. So for me, I've gotten it to about 50 feet in my basement. I haven't got a good chance to get a good gauge indoors in a different setting, so I'm hoping to maybe go to a basketball court sometime. Just outside in general, not always the greatest because of the wind, but it is still definitely possible. Outside, it's just not going to go as far, and there's always that wind factor to deal with. So maybe use my method and film yourself, and whenever you hit it good, look back at it and see what you did, and then try to mimic it and continue to improve upon this. So I hope you guys take the time to stand up and learn this move. It's definitely a really fun thing to do, and it's something a little bit different from what everybody else is doing. I haven't seen anybody else kind of playing around with kicking playing cards. There's constantly people throwing playing cards, but I think it's really fun to explore how far we can kick it and how we can improve that aspect. So I hope you guys enjoy and play around with this, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I will try to answer as much as possible, and I hope you guys enjoy and have a great day. Thanks Card Perfect Magician again for having me on, and if you have the time, check out Cardistry Talk. I would love to see you guys over there. I usually am conducting interviews with various people in the cardistry community. Thanks guys.